everyone. Welcome to episode 33 of the Bucs UK podcast. Yes, we are back. Another special episode. I've got David and Adam with me, and we also have with us from ABC Action News sports anchor and reporter Kyle Berger. Kyle, welcome. Thank you for joining us. How are you today?
I am doing well. It's great to see all you guys. You're some familiar faces from during the season. I've done some interviews with you guys for the Buccaneers Super Bowl run.
Yes, you chatted with Adam and David, didn't you, during the season prior to the Super Bowl? Man, you did some fantastic stuff. So, just quickly, again, thank you for asking us to get involved prior to the Super Bowl. We had a great time. So, massive thank you for doing that with us. Please remember, make sure you hit that like button beneath the video, subscribe to the channel as well, hit the bell so you're notified. I go on it about it every time. I'm not going to stop. All your support really does help us, so please keep doing those things for us. As usual, a big thank you to Bucs Report for helping to promote our podcast. So, Carl, if you're ready, we have some questions. Shall we get on with it?
Let's fire away.
Fantastic stuff. So now you have been in Tampa for around about a year, and I tell you what, not a bad year to come to Tampa, you got to say. But before we do go into more detail on that, could you give us or talk to us, if you could, a little bit more about your career prior to coming to Tampa? If I understand correctly, you were actually in Alabama before this.
Yeah, the bulk of my career was spent in Alabama. 8 years in Birmingham, which is the major city in Alabama, and 5 years in Huntsville, which is a little bit smaller market. Before that, I was 2 years in Panama City, Florida, living on the beach. So that was a nice, really first job getting into my broadcast career. But during my time in Alabama was incredible. All I did was cover winning football teams, which, if you guys are familiar with Nick Saban as one of the greatest college coaches of all time, I think I covered 8 or 9 national championship college football games between Auburn University, which is also in Alabama, and Alabama. So it was a fun run, covering the country back and forth, going to the Rose Bowl a couple of times in California, out to Arizona, to Miami, just following the team all over the country. And right before I left there, I had a chance to cover a Final Four, some of the March Madness college basketball, when Auburn made a run to the Final Four. So that was a really fun experience too. Getting a chance to go to New York City for the Heisman Trophy ceremony when Tua Tagovailoa was up for the Heisman. So it was a good run. And then I moved here, and all my friends joke, I have all this winning in my career of covering winning teams. And as soon as I come here, it doesn't stop. We get the Stanley Cup.
You're the lucky charm.
We get the World Series, and then we get the Super Bowl. So it's been a fun ride for my career so far.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, the timing. I mean, it's been a really strange year with the pandemic and everything around that. But then you've walked straight into Title Town. I mean, Tampa has just been amazing for the last 12 months. Obviously, you've got to stay. We're never letting you go now. But what's it been like being in Tampa for the last 12 months with everything going on around and the success?
Yeah, it's strange because I moved here, and my first week or so was kind of training, learning all the systems at the TV station. And then when the pandemic hit, and then we all had to quarantine. So I was only at the TV station for about a week and a half, and I was still learning faces, learning people's names. I don't even know all my coworkers yet at this TV station because I'm at my house all the time working, or I go out to practices, but I don't ever go to the TV station. So as soon as that happened, it just kind of threw everything in a whirl, I guess you could say, because I'm new here. I don't really know anybody. I don't know what I'm doing. All I know is the teams. I know all the teams. So I'm out covering the hockey teams, hockey practice, the Tampa Bay Lightning. And right off the bat, they win the Stanley Cup. But they were in a bubble in Canada, so we couldn't physically go to the game. So my first real experience with Lightning fans was outside the stadium at Amalie Arena. They had the Stanley Cup on the Jumbotron. And once they won the cup, it was nuts. I mean, people were, it's like there wasn't a pandemic. I mean, people were going crazy. That was my first real taste of a professional sports championship. It was wild. And then we had the boat parade, similar to the Buccaneers boat parade. Same type of deal, but they had the Stanley Cup. Instead of throwing the Lombardi trophy, they were passing the Stanley Cup from jet ski to jet ski. So it was a really cool experience. And it ended up at Raymond James Stadium is where they finished it up and had the players come on stage, give speeches, and they were all this drunk, just like you've seen Bruce Arians speaking at the end of the Super Bowl party. But it was a lot of fun. And then as soon as we finished that, we got right into baseball season with the Tampa Bay Rays. And of course, they go to the World Series. I had a chance to cover that. So they flew me out to Dallas for about a week, covering the Dodgers and the Rays. So that was a really fun experience. And then rolling right into the playoffs for football. So it's been a wild year. And I think we can go for a double-double. I think the Lightning can do it again. And I think the Bucs can do it again. So we'll see. It could be a back-to-back for both these teams.
I like it.
Like it, absolutely. I mean, and how have you found the Tampa public for all of this as well? I mean, it's been difficult not being able to mix, but they must be going crazy.
Yeah, they are. I mean, there's T-shirts everywhere. Everyone's wearing Tom Brady jerseys, Tom Brady T-shirts. There's several local T-shirt companies that are making their own T-shirts with the Antoine Winfield, peace sign to Tyreek Hill. So people are loving it. I mean, they can't get enough. Anytime Tom Brady or Gronk does something, that's like our lead story of the day. It's Buccaneers fever down here. I mean, fans are coming out of everywhere. There's a lot of longtime fans. There's a lot of new fans too, because Tampa's a city where a lot of people like to move to. And you're just adding on to the population is getting bigger and bigger. You can tell this in the Tampa area. Like, it keeps growing out. There's so many people coming down here, and it's adding more and more fans to this fan base.
Do you have a particular special moment of the last 12 months?
Oh, man, it's got to be the playoff run, not just the Super Bowl, but we had an opportunity to travel with the team, the first game to Washington, went up there, checked out that stadium, came back with a win. I was home for a couple of days, and they flew me back out again to New Orleans. We went to New Orleans, saw Drew Brees' final game. I saw him interacting with Tom Brady on the field, throwing the ball with his kids before Tom Brady walks out with another win, and they fly us up to Green Bay. So it was like a month or so living out of a suitcase for the most part for me. And then, of course, finally coming home, and it's nice to have the Super Bowl in our own backyard, like 15 miles from my house. Didn't really have to sleep in a hotel, even though we were staying in some really nice hotels they put us up in. But it was nice, waking up every day in your own bed. And that week they put me on the morning show. So I had to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day. So it was nice just to get up and not have to go so far, to drive right down the road to the stadium. So it was a fun week for sure.
Has it calmed down at all since?
Yeah, it's calmed down since the boat parade. The boat parade really kind of revved things up a little bit, but now you can say it's calmed down a little bit. People aren't going crazy in the streets like they were, but people are fired up for this free agency. What the Bucs have done lately, keeping the band together. First, we all knew Chris Godwin was getting the franchise tag. People were excited about having him come back. They're looking forward to a long-term deal with him. And then, of course, Tom Brady restructuring his contract to free up all that cap space to bring everybody back with Levante David and Shaq Barrett. So, I mean, that's what people are really excited about now. Now they're saying, who's next? Who's the next person to sign? We're waiting for like Ryan Suckup. They need that stability at the kicking spot.
He's just signed, so that's good.
He has signed. Okay, there we go. It's officially signed. So, yeah. So then maybe Sue's next. We're still waiting on Fournette and Antonio Brown.
I hope so.
So yeah. So it's been.
Have you found getting on with the Sorry, how have you found getting on with the Buccaneers organisation? I mean, we just have the most amazing relationship with them, although we're, best part of 5,000 miles away.
Yeah, the organization's great. I mean, as soon as they clinched a spot in the playoffs, they gave all the media a playoff hat, a playoff sweatshirt. So they've been really great, very cooperative to work with. I mean, we all try to request interviews with certain players like Tom Brady, but we know we can't get those all the time. We try our best. They try their best to make players available to us to do stories with. So they're great. I mean, I have no complaints with the media relations staff at the Buccaneers.
Nice. So could you sort of give us a glimpse into what's your routine on a game day when the Bucs are playing at Ray J?
Yeah, well, it's different from what it used to be. Pre-pandemic, we would get there 2-3 hours early. We'd have our press passes and we can walk right on the field. Nowadays, we're just kind of stuck in the press box. We can't really do much. Before games, we can do our live shots kind of on the concourse, kind of near the pirate ship or the other end zone as well. But other than that, that's as close as we can get. It's not like before we can get down there with our cell phones and shoot video of the warm-ups. We're pretty far back. And then once we get to the press box, we have, the clear barriers between all of our press box seats. So even with that, we're all of our interviews are on Zoom before we could go to the locker rooms and, form relationships with the players so they know our faces. But in Zoom, you really don't get that relationship, and it's hard to get some good breaking stories or good just your off the field stories you would normally get, because you don't form those relationships as you would when you're seeing these guys every day and they get to know you and you get to know them. So that's been one of the hard parts with the pandemic. You don't get to have that personal touch on some stories.
Yeah, you touched on it a little bit earlier with the Super Bowl now, but how would you begin to describe winning the Super Bowl in your own stadium? How crazy is that?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, as soon as the game ended, I mean, nobody left because it's like all the Bucs fans are in the stadium. I mean, I have the sign I was showing you. I mean, everyone's putting the signs up. I mean, everyone's sticking around and watching the post-game speeches with Tom Brady and Bruce Arians. It was wild. And then, I've got to leave to get out to our live shot. We're outside the stadium, so I'm trying to get through this crowd to get to my spot, and there's people just partying in the streets. I mean, we had our live news was on the entire time. People just jumping all over the place. It was wild. T-shirts are being sold like hot off the press. You have these brand new T-shirts. I mean, people are already wearing them. It was just a wild atmosphere. It was just a lot of fun. I mean, from the game itself, I mean, the Bucs controlled the entire thing. The halftime show was awesome. I don't know how it looked on TV, but it was cool being in a stadium with an actual live concert. I haven't been to a live concert in forever, and the fireworks, the whole spectacle of that, and it was a great night. And it lasted for probably a good few weeks afterwards until that boat parade. So it was a very fun night. The Bucs fans outnumbered Chiefs in that game. It was loud. It felt like a home game for sure.
Yeah, we outnumbered the Chiefs fans here in the UK as well.
we did big time, didn't we? Carl, if I can just quickly come in with another very brief question here. You said you had spoken to Tom Brady during the season. How would you, or how much would you attribute the Bucs' success to Tom Brady coming in and being the new quarterback?
There's a lot of it. I mean, it's not, especially on the offensive side. Defensively, the Bucs were pretty much set. They just need somebody at quarterback who wouldn't turn the ball over and had that leadership that people want to follow. Brady comes in and it's like Michael Jordan. Everyone wants to play with that guy. I mean, the successes, and he brought in Gronk, he brought in Antonio Brown. I mean, all the points in that Super Bowl were scored by guys that weren't on the team last year that Brady had a hand in bringing them to the team. So it's just like you get in the huddle and the players want to win for him. They don't want to let him down, because if they do, they're going to get chewed out on the sideline, which we saw that in the Bears game. So a lot of the success happens because of Tom Brady being here. And, it's great that he's signed on for another year. So maybe that could get more. I mean, they don't have room this year to sign more free agents, but I'm sure other guys are going to want to come here. Like Peterson's another guy who might consider coming here. Maybe if Fournette doesn't sign, you'll get guys like that. These veterans that are trying to get that ring, and a lot of success. I mean, you just look at his numbers. I mean, he had maybe the best quarterback statistical season for any Buccaneer ever. So. Yeah, a lot of success is Tom Brady.
And sorry, Adam. Sorry, just quickly, Carl. You got me intrigued now after the answer you've given there. What's in terms of around Tampa? It's focusing still on Brady, if you don't mind. Is it Brady fever? Is Tampa really embracing Tom Brady? Because obviously we've not had the chance to get over there to experience this because of the pandemic. So just try and paint that picture for us. What are we missing?
Well, everybody. If he's not on your team, you don't like him. That's what I think it is. Like when he was with the Patriots, everybody hated him. He moves here. He flipped the switch. He's like a different person than he even was in New England. I mean, they call him the Florida man now because, Florida guys, they do crazy things. He wins a championship. He gets drunk on a boat. He's throwing trophies. He puts his cell phone out on social media. Have you guys tried calling him yet?
We did that. Yeah,
well, I did. I called and I texted. I haven't heard back, so I don't know. But he's changed. He's completely changed from. He's feels like he's loving life down here. The fans. I mean, everybody loves him. I mean, it's like you're in New England, you hate him. You move here, he wins, and he has this different personality. People, I mean, it seems like people who hated him before and aren't even Bucs fans are liking him now because he has this personality he's never shown before. And
he's smiling again.
Yeah, he's smiling. He's just having a lot of fun. He's out throwing footballs with David Beckham on the beach, I guess last weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that was in the Bahamas, but he seemed a changed guy, or just more laid back, or we're just finally seeing it now that he's not under that microscope of Bill Belichick, who will trade you in a heartbeat if you don't, do like what Bill Belichick says.
You're absolutely right. He just didn't seem anything like the character that we've got now. And whether he's just re-energized, just enjoying Florida life, just happy to be away from Belichick. But he just seems a totally different person, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. And it's funny now that the Patriots didn't have enough money to keep Brady the other year, but now they're making all these signings. I don't know if Belichick's trying to catch up to Brady now. It's okay, we got to do something because we can't get this guy another championship without me.
Yeah, that David Beckham thing you just said, that's a good little segue into this next question. So we know you cover all sports. What is the soccer scene like in Tampa at the moment? And do you support a football team, a soccer team?
Yeah, we have the Tampa Bay Rowdies for the USL Championship League. I don't follow as much. I follow soccer when we get to that big stage. So World Cup, I love the World Cup, and of course Olympics. When I was in Birmingham, Alabama, a team arrived just before I left, the Birmingham Legion, who was also a USL Championship team, and I had so much fun covering those games. I mean, I would just go and I think went to almost about every game. I enjoyed it a lot. I moved here, and of course, when I moved here to the quarantine, and everything kind of shut down. So I haven't really been to a Rowdies game in person yet, and I haven't had a chance to see the full atmosphere or the fan base yet because things just kind of shut down when I got here. So that's tough for me to answer. I know they do get really good crowds before everything kind of hit. But as far as myself, watching professional soccer or anything your guys' way, I mean, it's just really World Cup and the national teams where I really keep up with.
Yeah, so you don't support any English football teams or follow any of those?
No, I don't. I do want to go to a game. I do want to go to a game because I heard they're so much fun to go to, and just the support they get out there.
Oh, I can get crazy.
What sports teams do you follow?
Well, so I grew up in Atlanta, so Atlanta, Georgia, which is just north of here in Florida. So I'm a huge Atlanta Braves fan for baseball. The Atlanta Falcons, which is it's odd that it's like a rival of the Bucs now.
Yeah, you're on a Buccaneer podcast here, Carl. Just warning you on that one.
I know. But they're so bad right now. I moved down here. I was like, okay, it's the Buccaneers. They haven't been very good in a while. I can pull for two teams. I mean, that'd be fine. But then now the Bucs are super good, and the Falcons are kind of on the way down. So my friends in Atlanta hate that I'm covering this winning team. But
I bet you like my favorite player, Julio Jones, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I do love Julio. Julio is my favorite player because I covered him in high school. And in Alabama, so I followed his entire career. Yeah. That's kind of the same with Jameis Winston. I covered him in high school in Birmingham, and then he went to Florida State, and Florida State played Auburn in the national championship game that year. So I got to cover Jameis' freshman year in the national championship that he won. So I was looking forward to seeing Jameis down in his pro career. I'm friends with his trainer. So I have that access, and then he gets traded. I was like, man, no, the guy that I know is leaving. Tom Brady's coming in, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Just another question, if I may, Carl. What prompted the move to the Tampa area?
It's just a great opportunity. I mean, this is a big jump in as far as TV goes. You go by like market size. Tampa at the time was market 11, and Birmingham was like 46. So that's a pretty big jump for you look at the demographics and things like that. And plus you're a chance to cover pro teams. I've always wanted to cover pro football and a chance to do it. I mean, Atlanta, I would love to go to, but there was never an opening. And I mean, I was in Birmingham for 8 years, so it had to be a good opportunity for me to want to leave Birmingham. And it's only 3 hours from my family, so it's really close right now. I'm about 6 or 7 hours. So it's a plane ride now instead of a drive, but a chance to cover pro sports and to do it in Florida. They got the beach,
world champions.
Yeah, and I got the beach, I got Disney World, I got all these great teams. So I mean, I couldn't pass it up.
There's only one team you had to follow, and you made the right choice as far as we're concerned, Carl. So, and you must be the lucky charm because you came here, and in first year we're Super Bowl champions. So, we want you to stick around, certainly. Brilliant. So, we're just going to take a quick break from the questions for a moment, Carl, if that's okay, because we are a members club, as I'm sure you're probably aware. So, I'm afraid we do have to do some shameless self-promotion. So, David, if I can just hand over to you, would you be able to tell our listeners and viewers a bit more about Bucs UK?
Yep, so Bucs UK has been going since 1984. We've got over 430 members at the moment live. If you haven't renewed your membership or you're thinking of joining, get on the website www.bucsuk.org. It's a great place to be, socialising, sharing all our love for the Buccaneers, plenty of competitions and just great fun and a great place to enjoy NFL and the Buccaneers. And what better time to join?
Absolutely, 100%. And don't forget, everyone, we do want to hear from you as well. You can send us an email, mail@bucsuk.org, or we have our WhatsApp number. You can WhatsApp us on 07311 212 713. Right, that'll do for this all this shameless self-promotion. I think let's get back to the things that people want to hear. We're talking to Carl Berger, sports anchor and reporter for ABC Action News. Carl, again, thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you with us. Now, we couldn't have you on without asking our members if they wanted to ask you some questions as well. And they did, which is awesome. So, David, I'm going to hand it back to you again, as I believe you do have some questions from our members ready to go.
Okay, we'll start off. This runs from Wayne Skeltonhoff. So here in the UK, comes across sometimes that the so-called less fashionable teams like the Bucs don't get taken seriously by sports reporters generally. Do you get a sense of that as well? And if so, what do you think the Buccaneers need to do to change that? Buccaneers seem to be sort of get less coverage, certainly don't get recognised for sort of Pro Bowl allocation. So obviously winning the Super Bowl is a great start, but what else do you think the Buccaneers need to do to change the image?
Yeah, Wayne, that's a good question. I think up until this year now, it seems like all the talk is about the Buccaneers. Before this year, nobody really talked about the Buccaneers. It's once you have that winning culture and you get those really famous players like Brady and Gronkowski, suddenly everybody wants to talk about you. But coming up to this year, there wasn't much buzz. People, I guess I heard a lot of bad negativity about the uniforms. People didn't like the uniforms. They didn't like looking at them. They didn't like the players. You're having quarterbacks throwing 30 interceptions. There's just not much positive things to say. So the national media kind of glosses over you. They're more worried about talking about the Patriots when they had Tom Brady, or Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, or the 49ers. But now I think all the focus is going to be on the Buccaneers this season for sure, with all these signings, the Super Bowl, and a chance to, as Bruce Arians says, go for two. So everyone's going to be looking at the Bucs this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, and one from Mariana. So we're all still novices in podcasting and presenting and sort of reporting side of it. What advice can you give us?
Book better guests, not me. I'm just kidding.
Oh, no, right.
No, I know you guys have been great. I mean, you got graphics, you got the intros, you're very well prepared, preparing me for the podcast. It's not your fault that we switched time clocks over here. No, but you guys do a great job with this.
Oh, thank you.
Well done. And Graham Reid, so of all the interviews you've conducted, which one stands out as the most memorable?
Leading up to this Super Bowl, the one that stands out for me is I had a chance to do an interview with Mama Gronkowski, Rob Gronkowski's mom.
Brilliant.
She is fantastic. She lives in Fort Myers, which is about 2.5 hours away from Tampa. So I talked to her as probably Super Bowl's on Sunday. I talked to her on probably the Friday before, just getting all these like inside quirks of Gronkowski, of Rob, and how he got that name Gronk. What his other hobbies are. He likes to juggle. I don't know if you guys knew that. He's juggling. Yeah. So she talked about that. It was just a great interview, a great insight on hearing some things behind the guy who ended up catching 2 touchdowns in the game. So she said that when his next touchdown, she's hoping instead of spiking the ball, that he starts grabbing other balls and starts juggling them. But that didn't happen. So I was looking for that, but it never happened.
Did she talk about his experience on The Masked Singer in the US at all?
No, she did mention that he gets that personality because he was the 4th youngest of 5 kids. So to get any attention, he had to do something, like to stand out. So that's where she thinks all of that, the entertainment side of him comes from the wrestling to the Masked Singer to, I think he was dancing at the Laker girls at a basketball game one time. So that's where that comes from, is trying to stand out, being one of the youngest of the siblings.
Kyle, we're going to need to get Mama Gronk's number and details off you. It should be a brilliant guest on our show.
Oh, lovely. Pete Payne, do you do the typical reporting trick of wearing shorts below camera with a shirt and tie and jacket on?
Yes, we do. Especially when I'm working from home, I'll wear this suit, and then I'm wearing this athletic basketball shorts or soccer shorts. But when I'm in studio, which has been forever, they see my whole body, so I can't get away with it there. So I have to wear a whole suit. So I'll go to work wearing shorts and a t-shirt, but I'll bring a suit with me to change into. My first job in Panama City, we actually sat at a desk. So I would literally come in off the beach wearing sandals and swimming trunks and a suit. So yeah. When I can get away with it, I get away with it for sure.
Good work.
And Ian Custane. So when an NFL player moves teams, they have to learn a whole new playbook. When you moved to Tampa, how did you familiarise yourself with all the Tampa Bay sports franchises and including their histories?
Yeah, that's a real good question. So I got my job offer here in November of, I guess it was 2020. That was 2019. November 2019, I got my job offer. My contract in Birmingham expired in February. So I had 4 months there I knew I was moving here. Because you can't just all these contracts, you can't break these legal things. It's a whole complicated mess. So I had 4 months to learn. I would read the Tampa Bay Times. I would read all these websites, just brushing up on everything. Just so I scanned the rosters, reading backgrounds on every player to see if there's any kind of nugget I could get out of there. It might be a good story angle or something that I'll just have in my back pocket. If I'm talking to that person, I can pull it out at some point. But yeah, I did lots of research before moving down here, in addition to trying to find a place to live and find all that, trying to learn Tampa in general. But I was digging through the Lightning, the Rays, the Rowdies, just learning everything, learning high schools, because we cover high schools too with high school football.
Yeah.
And that's really big down here as well. So I'm trying to learn where these high schools are located, who won the state championships the previous year, who are the players coming up that are juniors this year, to be seniors next year I need to look out for. So there's a lot to go through. But it was fun. It was fun learning a new place, and it's such a bigger city, so there's a lot more to cover.
That was like a fantastic job.
Do you think your experience in college coverage is going to help you a lot more when the draft comes around? Yeah, it will, because I covered Alabama exclusively, so I know a lot of those guys really well. The defensive linemen, the offensive linemen, players that your standard. Most people know the quarterback and the wide receivers, but those guys in the trenches that they may not stand out. So I've gotten to know those guys more, and just knowing the college game more just kind of helps transferring over to the NFL game. So it was especially Alabama. Alabama's like an NFL team. They run like an NFL team, and just the way the media policies go. So there wasn't much change. When you cover Auburn, there's a little more leniency with things. There's more access. So there wasn't much change covering Alabama compared to covering the Buccaneers. Excellent. And from Dominic Hodgkinson, so he lives in a city and follows a soccer team that's really been starved of sporting success. So what's it like being in a city with a winning team? Obviously, poor old Dom has no idea following Derby County. It's great. It makes your job a lot more fun, and it makes it a lot easier, because when you're covering a losing team, the players don't want to talk to the media to talk about how they're losing. So when you're covering winners, they want to talk to you. You get parades, you get celebrations. Everyone in the city's happy.
the sports talk radio, everyone's in a good mood. I mean, it's when you're covering these losing teams. I mean, when I go home to Atlanta, I'll turn on the talk radio and people are complaining about how bad the Falcons are, what they need to do. I mean, it's like, it's not as fun, you know. It's more fun covering winning teams, and especially when your star quarterback is having as much fun with the fans as well. It makes it so much better.
Oh, poor Dom.
Well, Kyle, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you ever so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure. And the fact that you've taken time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to us, despite the fact we got the time wrong, we really, really do appreciate it. So thank you ever so much.
No problem. Anytime. And when I get over to UK sometime, who do I need to pull for soccer?
Man United.
Who wants to take?
Glazers own Manchester United. So you gotta support them.
I gotta go to a game. I gotta go to a game with somebody when I go over there.
Yeah, when you come over, you just let us know. We'll look after you.
You'll get many different answers to that question if you ask all the members, Carl. Many different answers to that one.
All of you are fans of different clubs.
They certainly are, yeah.
Oh, man. The Buccaneers bring you together.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when we're talking about soccer, it's a completely different conversation to when we're all in agreement about the Buccaneers. That I will tell you. If you do want to follow Carl, he is on Twitter. His link will be in the description below as well. Don't forget, we're also on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Again, please come and join us there. So I just need to finish off now by saying a big thank you to David and Adam, and of course Carl. Again, Carl, thank you ever so much. It's been a real thrill to have you with us.
Thank you guys. Anytime.
And we will see you again for our next episode very soon. Take care, and as always, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.